First episode ever, Ocho.
Yep. I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous of what this might entail.
Well, who knows? Who knows how this is going to work? We got an angel and a demon coming at each other on this. But we're both.
And sometimes I'm the devil, you're the angel.
Yeah, I know. It flip-flops.
You're the devil, I'm the angel.
You just never know. You just never know. But anyway, for those of you that don't know, we came out of this. We were doing a show together called Hanging Out of the Box, and that was a debate show where there was a lot of people with a lot of different views, and we would talk about topical issues. And the whole idea behind it was, which was a great idea, by the way, that no matter what your views were, there were people that were hardcore conservatives, people that were hardcore liberals, but in the end, no matter how much we went back and forth, we had to get along, which was a great message. And that's how Ocho and I met. So we got to give Blast Zone Mike props.
Yeah, we definitely had some good people on there. Blast Zone Mike and also Jonathan.
Kiki and Jonathan and Sam and Simon. I mean, great bunch of people. Hopefully they'll all turn up here too. It just got to the point where it was getting too much. There's too many people getting involved in it, and everybody started dropping off. So it's one of those things that burned hot. But sometimes when things burn hot, they burn out too quickly.
They sizzle out too quickly.
Right. But, all those episodes are still on YouTube if you want to see where Ocho and I met and where we got started with all this stuff.
It gave us an opportunity to meet, and we're two crazy individuals. We figured, you know what? Wouldn't the world want to see two crazy tattooed guys talking about this and that and giving their opinions? Because even though we may look similar, we have different views.
Yep. Yeah, we have different views, but we agree with certain things, and certain things we don't agree with. That's what's going to make it fun. Like something that's kind of interesting, and we might as well let the cat out of the bag. When we were on the Hanging Out of the Box show, we were basically the conservatives, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
We both kind of came in from different places, but something that's very interesting about that. Well, by conservative, I mean, I shouldn't say, because I don't think either of us, I mean, do you consider yourself a Republican or an independent?
Truthfully, I sway with both sides. I have beliefs on both sides. I ride the line pretty much in the middle, so I would say independent.
Right, I agree with you on that, because
it's just right now I don't like I don't like the hierarchy or the leadership of the Democrats, so I tend to right now sway more to the Republican side.
Right. Now, it's a funny story. I mean, I always, for years and years and years, I was a pretty hardcore liberal. I mean, I was a punk rock kid. And I moved out to the Bay Area, California. And when I was there, it was right during the time where the 2016 elections were not only revving up, but actually happening. And it was strange for me to be in an area where everybody was super left-wing and super liberal. I agreed with what most of them said. It wasn't the sentiment. I mean, I think we all could agree racism is an awful thing. I mean, nobody wants that. And but where it got weird for me is they got very authoritarian in their views, and they were very unaccepting of anybody that believed something different.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with them criticizing Donald Trump because he's a politician. There's plenty to be criticized. Where I started having a problem was it was so divided that not only did they hate Donald Trump, but they hated anybody that supported him, which kind of opened my eyes to, man, if anybody's traveling in a pack without any diversity, it can get really ugly.
Yeah, we live in a society now where you can't give your opinion for anything anymore.
You get canceled. Cancel culture is one hell of a thing.
Cancel culture, and you got people offended at anything now. Me as an actor, if you don't know, I'm a SAG actor. Sometimes I got to watch my mouth because I'm afraid that I might get blacklisted and not get any more roles. You know what I mean? It's getting where it's pretty awful now.
Yeah, I've had that happen as an artist too. And the funny thing is, to be perfectly honest, Ocho, when I first started, supporting Trump, it was kind of an Andy Kaufman ruse because I realized how upset people got about it. So I would just kind of throw out this, he doesn't seem so bad, just to watch people get upset because I thought it was funny. But then I started, because I was playing that role and kind of having a little bit of fun with it, I was paying more attention to politics and more attention to what the man said and stuff. And I started noticing that he was getting accused of saying things that he didn't say, or they were taking snippets of things that he said and trying to change the narrative and turn him into this marauding rapist, Nazi. I mean, anything bad you can think of is what they were projecting onto this guy. Well, when I start noticing the mainstream media blatantly lying or telling half-truths and it being obviously intentional, I can't lie, I kind of swayed over. It's like, man, if they're going to hate somebody this bad, and I catch them in lies about this person, I'm going to have a little bit of sympathy.
He must be shaking the boat or something, right?
Yeah, there must be some reason that they don't like him so much. And it started getting weird to me because, again, I've never really been a political person. And, again, it kind of started out as a joke. But I started noticing anything I would say to defend him, people would get really upset. Like an example, and I'm not going to mention her name, a woman that used to hang out at the shop with us was a dear friend of mine. And she started going off, and this was during the 2016 elections. I could never support somebody that said, grab him by the pussy. I don't feel safe as a woman. And I was like, yeah, but you've been in this tattoo shop all week, and every day in this shop, somebody in here has said something worse than grab him by the pussy and joking. And then she herself was making fun of guys she dated with little dicks, saying they had tater tots. So I asked her, it's like, why is that so important? Why are you running with that so much? Why are you so offended by something that's just everyday banter? The guy wasn't a politician at the time. It was a hot mic. He didn't mean to say it publicly. And she didn't have an answer. She actually got very angry with me for questioning it and actually dropped me as a friend, and we were close.
Yeah, we got Biden sniffing people's hair.
Yeah, Biden's just plain creepy, you know.
Yeah, you got him that he's just like, I wouldn't have him around my wife, you know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, in the political world, there's no saints.
Nobody's 100%. You can't blindly support.
A lot of the time, I'll be honest, you're choosing the lesser of two evils. You know what I mean? And it's a sad truth, but that's how it is in the political world. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. You can't 100% support anybody that's a politician because what's their motivation to become a politician in the first place? But on the same note, you can't get so deranged and obsessed that you completely hate somebody either. And that's the funny thing is, I've seen people do it to both sides, and neither Biden nor Trump are too good for criticism. But I see people getting obsessed, and I see too many people getting angry, and that was the thing that I liked so much about hanging out of the box is we had people that hated Trump, people that supported him, people that were Christian, people that were atheists, people that are Satanists. And we could all have a discussion and get along, and there was a lesson to be learned from that. And
that's the way it should be, actually, is that
I agree.
Is that as human beings, you know, we're above animals. If someone has an opinion, it doesn't mean that, you know what I mean, that they're an evil person because they support a certain person. It doesn't mean that, you know what I mean, they just have different, and that's, as Americans, that's our, you know what I mean, that's in our Constitution. We have the right to believe anything we want to believe. We have the right to talk about anything we want to talk about. And, you know, that's what our forefathers fought against. And if you say, well, dude, you're Mexican, bro. You have no say. Well, you know what? My great-great-great-great-grandfather, we've been here since forever. You know what I mean? My great-grandfather was a prisoner of war in World War II in the March of Bataan. So I think I got a little bit of say-so in saying that, you know what? Our forefathers fought for our right to believe and to believe in whatever the hell we want to believe in. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree 100%. Well, we lost your video. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what it is, and I think this is an age-old problem, and I think it goes from continent to continent, culture to culture, age to age, is people have this tribal mentality where they want to have an us against them mentality. The thing is, you can bring people together if you could just find some kind of common ground, but politics sure doesn't seem to be that common ground, especially recently. I mean,
it's not even that. It's just social media nowadays has divided us so much because people now put on everything. Back in the day, we didn't know every single detail of everyone's life. You know what I mean? It was, you know, we got what we got from when we talked on the phone with people, and we learned about people face to face. But nowadays, social media now, they you know the color of someone's shit.
That's true. Or at least the color they want you to think it is. Sometimes they'll have some glitter and rainbows on top of it. You're like, wow, look that's a fine glittery rainbow. Oh, that's.
Well, we were just talking about it on how people now have internet balls or social media balls. People that normally wouldn't stand up to people or say something. You know what I mean? Have these fake balls now where they feel they can say whatever they want to say. Social media really has been a great thing and a destructive thing. And right now we're living in a society that I don't know. 2020 has been a year from hell.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, hopefully we'll all learn from it. The one thing I'll say, and I've made this analogy before, some of the best vacations that I've had are the ones that completely are disastrous because they make the most memories. So I'm hoping in hindsight we can all kind of look back on 2020 and have a good laugh at it because you ain't going to get much more out of that. All I can say is and I'm not ashamed to say it because a lot of people are. I think what it is the mainstream media has made it so acceptable to be a super left-wing, even communist edge type of mentality that if you won't speak that rhetoric, then those are the only ones that are open to share their opinion.
Yeah.
I really think more people need to share their opinion. I mean, I think a lot of people are a little more conservative because they don't like the way things are going, but they feel like they need to censor themselves and be quiet about it. And if you're not hating on somebody else, I think it shows a lot more character to be able to say what you support and what you like about, like even if it's Biden or Trump or whoever, if you can say what you like about the person rather than being focused on how much you hate the other side, I think that shows a lot more character.
This is my belief. If Biden gets elected president, he's going to be my president. You know what I mean?
And I hope for the best. I hope he does a good job.
Yeah, he's my president, and you know what? I'm going to support him because he's my president, and I hope he does a good job. It's just now that people have no respect anymore. It's like you know what? That when they're like, he's not my president. Well, I hate to tell you, he got voted in. He is your president. The thing is that man, it's just weird. It's just weird. And what we need to do is get rid of all this hate, all this division, come together as people. You know, when people come together, they can conquer. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I mean, we got to find the common ground.
We can conquer Corona. We can conquer all this hate and violence. We just need to come together. You know, realize that we all are human beings with different opinions, different views. But we're human beings, and we should all be about love and togetherness, you know?
Right, and hopefully sometimes, hopefully this show will show that sometimes you just got to laugh at the ridiculousness of the world, realize this too shall pass, and just have a chuckle at how crazy people are, because I'm sorry, people have lost their fucking mind. Hopefully everybody puts their head out of their ass. True. But maybe we'll figure it all out. Maybe we'll come out of the other end of all this with a little more knowledge and wisdom. I don't have a whole lot of faith that it's going to happen that way, but I hope it does.
If these two freaks can get together and do a show together, you know what I mean, and have way different views and opinions, then you know what? Anybody can.
Well, and not even that. The fact that, I mean, you've made no secrets about what your past has been. People can come through anything and come out a better person. I bet 20 years ago, nobody would ever guess that you would be an upfront, kind-hearted, good to people. Yeah. Good to people as you are.
If anyone doesn't know my story, I am a former gang member, former drug addict, heroin addict, former drug dealer, former prisoner, and I did it all. I'm ashamed of the former life I had, but I've changed my life, and now I go out, I do motivational speaking and talk about redemption, second chances, and I'm a SAG actor. So anybody can change their life around, Right. Anybody can do a new slate, so to speak. Right. And I don't judge people. I don't judge people by their looks, by their beliefs, anything.
You proved that with hanging out of the box. I mean, you got along just as well with the kid that was on there who was a Satanist than anybody else. Because the thing is, I mean, there's different aspects to people's personalities. It's not all cut and dry, not all black and white. Everybody's multifaceted. And if you can just find that facet where you find a common ground, we all might be able to learn a little something from one another. Now, exactly. I bet, I'll be willing to bet, and correct me if I'm wrong, I bet the time that you spent on the inside, you really saw how tribal people can get. Everybody segregates themselves off. Oh, yeah. It's I'd like to see us all evolve past that.
The way we're acting now, it reminds me of the inside. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why it just saddens me because we're like I said, we're destined for greatness, and right. and the way we're acting is just like going backwards. I
do know that
so much as a together people.
Yeah, I'm willing to bend on a lot of things. The one things I'm adamant on is I don't ever want to give up freedom of speech, and the Constitution means an awful lot to me.
Exactly.
But that's about as
But
political as I want to get. Yeah, enough about us. Well, people need, we needed to kind of get that out there. And if you've left now and never going to come back, well,
goodbye.
Goodbye. Nice have spending this time together.
But anyway, I definitely want to introduce our two guests that we're going to have on.
We had some good ones for the first episode, man. I was impressed with these guys.
We got a good lineup coming up, and if you guys are just tuning in and saying, who are these guys? I'm not too sure about these guys. Let me assure you, we have a good lineup of some famous people, some people that are going to give some good knowledge and some good talks, and you just might find yourself entertained. Our first show, we will be interviewing Mariano Mendoza, who is a former UFC fighter, former champion, now a SAG actor, been in a lot of films, including Rod Zombie's 3 from Hell, and many others. And our second guest is Chris Martin, writer of Haters Make Me Famous, also a documentary on Amazon Prime. You did watch that, did you not, Ryan?
I absolutely did. I was sucked right in. It was awesome. And if I can't recommend it enough to all you guys, if you have Amazon Prime, Haters Made Me Famous, awesome documentary. I didn't know what I was getting into. Actually, it's a similar story to yours, Ocho, where he started out with some trouble. The only thing is, you kind of got yourself into trouble where he kind of got railroaded on some crazy shit.
Yeah, he was railroaded. I deserved to be in prison. He didn't.
No, they really gave him a. Well, I don't want to give too much away. Watch the documentary, and you'll get a little bit of insight from the interview we did with him, and we'll go into that interview right now. Well, are we going to do?
We're going to start with Mariano and interview him, and then second of all, our second guest would be Chris Martin. So let's get right into Mariano. All right, this is Michael Ochotorena. We're here with Ryan Almighty, and right now we got a special guest, someone that I know of, and someone that we've actually been in a couple movies. We just haven't been in the same scenes, I can say. But we got Mariano Big Dawg Mendoza. You want to introduce yourself, Mariano?
Yeah, man, Ocho, it's awesome, man. I podcast going on, and we did the movie with Colton in Arizona, and you had a really good part, man. And I worked with Colton a couple of times, and I know that, like, it was awesome to know you're a believer too, man. And I was like, this business is really crazy, man, but I'm blessed, man. Even during this COVID, I still get work.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine your two's beautiful face in one film now. I can see it.
Batman number 1 and Batman number 2.
Right. I love doing Hell, by the way.
Oh, really? Thank you.
You're very welcome. And you've done things like Dexter. What's some of the stuff you've done other than working with Ocho? I know you're an MMA fighter as well.
Yeah, I'm the first Mexican bodybuilder turned MMA fighter. I fought for 2 world titles, one in Brazil with Federico La Panda. He's one of the players that worked together with the UFC with Art David. And then I fought Stefanos in Jamaica, and then I fought in Panama. And this was in 90s, 2001, 2002. When there was no rules and there was bare knuckle fighting.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, bro. That's when UFC was really popular, when they used to have the Gracies and the Shamrocks, right?
Yeah, back then. And it's funny because Tank Abbott was fighting, Frank Shamrock, what's his name? Anderson Silva, the Axe Murderer, he was fighting. These are like, Kimo La Panda.
Back then they didn't even have a weight class, right?
Yeah, they didn't have weight classes, but for me, they put me in a super fight, and it was called WBC, which stands for World Vale-Tudo, and that's the original MMA that came from Brazil, and Federico La Panda is one of the creators of the UFC, so I got blessed to fight Francisco Bueno, and WBC number 6, and then I fought Stefanos on number 8, and then I fought here in LA, Cage Combat, pancreation rules, which is close fists through the body, and slaps to the face. So yeah, it was that was one of my main things I was known for. And I was a bodybuilder at that time, and they said, "Hey, you want to go? We're looking for a heavyweight fighter. We want a Latino guy." And I got lucky. I was training at LA Boxing in downtown LA, and if you guys know LA Boxing, that's a legendary place in downtown LA.
That's awesome, bro. I respect you because I don't know if you know too. I'm a fighter too. I was a fighter. I did boxing for a lot of years, and I was a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. So I used to compete. I was ranked 3rd in the Western States back in the day. So I know the dedication you have to put in, and I know the wear and tear on the body too.
Yeah, do you have any long-lasting damage to your body from your time in UFC? I can imagine it's not easy.
Well, I always say I fought for the guys who invented the UFC, and I don't wanna lie about it, but it was called World Valetudo, which was that was the sister of the UFC back then. So it was called WVC and Cage Combat. So yeah, and Federico, look it up, so you can know he's one of the co-creators with Art Davie. They're the ones that started the UFC. Without them, the Gracies were involved. Frank Shamrock, all those guys are all legends, and I got to be on the list of the top 100 best fighters in 2001 by Grappler and Black Belt, and I was just wow. That's what I wanted to do before I got into acting.
That's awesome, bro. But hey,
acting's probably a little less.
You don't get hurt.
I was going to say a little less damaging on your body.
Well, I do stunts too, so I've been pretty sure Ocho's done stunts too, and I don't do them as much as I used to because I have a lot of injuries. But stunts, basic fight stuff, nothing like jumping out of airplanes or crashing in the cars, nothing like that. But
so that's what Ryan was asking. Do you, are there serious injuries you have from your fighting days?
Oh, really? And Taekwondo is a really good martial arts to know because that they call that the martial arts for Hollywood.
Yeah. Back in the day, there was no really. When I was younger, there wasn't no UFC stuff. There wasn't no Brazilian fighting. The only thing you could either do was karate or Taekwondo. So
funny. Yeah, I remember that. That was who's really good at Taekwondo? Joe Rogan.
I was just going to bring him up and ask if you had ever had a match together.
That guy, I remember Joe Rogan when he first started. I was a fight promoter too, and this was back in the days, the early days when they didn't have sanctions, and California didn't sanction it. So yeah, and just thinking, Taekwondo is so incredible with the kicks and the I never competed in Taekwondo. I just get Kung Fu Sang Tzu and stuff like that. But kickboxing and Muay Thai, that was my specialty. And I trained with the best trainers in the world, Colbound and Saxon.
Dang, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm suffering from it now. I got a bad back, bad knees. You know what I mean? So I wake up sometimes. I'm 42 years old, but I wake up sometimes and I have a hard time getting out of the bed. So I had a good time with it. I had a good time with it, but it beat me up at the end.
That shit happens to me, and I never got involved in any fighting. At 50, I injure myself by sleep sometimes. It's the damnedest thing.
Yeah, I know. You're probably feeling our pain, man.
Hey, Mariano, why don't you tell us how you got into acting? How that switched from fighting to acting?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, on top of fighting, I was a world champion powerlifter too. So I got 3 world records in the strict curl. I got the all-time heavyweight world record of 210, and CT Fletcher, we both competed. So I was a bodybuilder / MMA fighter, and I actually had a lot of trophies. I won the Muscle Beach Venice. They called me little Mexican Arnold. That was my little nickname. But it all happened at the gym where I got my first acting role in a movie called I Accidentally Domed Your Son and Gangster Party. Ryan Combs was a director producer. He worked a lot with that big black actor Vin Rhymes.
Yeah, Vin Rhymes. Yeah,
Vin Rhymes from Baby Boy.
Yeah, Baby Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, so that my friend directed the movie King of the Avenues, and so I got. Remember that? It was a gangster movie, low budget thing. King of the Avenues with Vin Rhymes.
Yeah.
And my friend worked at he worked out at American Eagle Gym in Norwalk, and he said, "Hey, Mariano, you want to be a bad guy in this movie?" And I didn't even know I was gonna have a speaking role. It was like I came up, I was an undercover assassin, and I spoke in Spanish, and I said, "Señor El Gato, gusta algo más?" And next thing I know, a lady bodyguard is choking me. I'm trying to choke her, and then I get killed by a lady bodyguard.
But it led to more and more roles,
that was my
right?
first acting role.
But it led to more and more roles, right?
What was that?
You got more and more roles though from that, right?
Oh yeah, I wasn't seriously about acting back then, and then next thing I know, I was with Central Casting, and there's a group called Suspect. They're the first kind of like homeboy casting group where they had cholos, gangsters, Asian guys. It was called Suspect 13. Noel started there, Noel G.
Yeah, I worked with him.
Yeah, oh really? Yeah. So he started there, and they said, "Hey, I started getting background work, and then I started getting speecher stuff. Hey, what do you know how to do? I'm a veteran, and I know martial arts, and I know about guns, and I know about shooting, and this and that." And I would say my biggest thing when I started was a commercial by Mountain Dew, and it was a national commercial, and I made about $40,000.
Wow!
And I was like, "Oh man, this is really good, man!" And that started it. I'm like, I didn't know you can make that kind of money off a commercial. And I started doing a lot of
Mountain Dew. You said? That was for Mountain Dew. You said?
Mountain Dew commercial, right? I played a gladiator. That was in.
I can see that.
I could see that too.
I was gonna say, how did they put you into like drinking a soda pop? Now I see it as a gladiator. I see it.
Hey Ryan, you should see Mariano in real life. He's a big dude.
I lost a lot of muscle. I had a pulled bicep, a pulled pec from my weightlifting days. So, but you know what? I stay in shape. I just finished training a couple hours ago with my trainer, Master Joe Lee, and he teaches. He's trained a lot of UFC fighters, and I just practice on technique, bro. I'm not trying to be badass.
For me, like Zombie. How was that working with Rob Zombie?
Rob was so cool, man. It's nice when you get compliments from big directors. And he said, "Man, bro, you're a scary guy." And I said, "Well, I'm trying to take over Danny Trejo."
That's exactly what I say, man.
Hey, it's time for the young guys to get a break, right?
Right. One of us got to get it.
See, I'm just thinking about wanting to go to his donut shop and his taco stand myself. But
I saw he just did a documentary too.
He did.
Yeah, but Mariano, you have a documentary too, don't you?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Plus, Amazon Prime, and it's called The Untold Story of Mariano Mendoza. Basically, my story is I grew up in foster homes and boys' homes since the age of 9. I came from my stepfather, beat me up, abused me, and more mentally, and that's how I got into bodybuilding. Because I was a bony kid, man. I was in the sports, but I was a shy kid, and I was in the McLaren Hall, boys' homes in Long Beach, the Long Beach boys' home. I was there for a couple of years, But that was my life. My family is originally from Compton, so it's kind of crazy. I actually came from a crazy neighborhood, but God had other plans for me, man.
That's awesome.
That was another thing that I was involved in. I used to be a big steroid dealer. So, I did my crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. How'd you finally get rid of that addiction?
You know what, man? It was hard, man. It was hard because I'm used to being big, and I was making money, and I was a nightclub bouncer. To be a bouncer, you got to be big,
Yeah.
So, and then I started hanging around all these big guys in Gold's Gym, and my friend, hey, man, you want to tell me I'll get you the secret sauce? I didn't know. What is that? Protein powder, and all these bodybuilders taking all this shit, all this natural stuff. And no, man, that's a bunch of BS. They're all on points.
All I can think of is Dolph Lundgren in the Rocky movie. If he dies, he dies.
Right?
He's getting all juiced up.
Right? But back
look at me like a super soldier or something.
Right.
Yeah, back in the 90s, though, in the 2000s, early 2000s, steroid use was really bad, though.
Yeah, I did the business for a couple of years, and I got busted, and I did a year probation, and I used to go to Tijuana, first bring stuff, and then I had some guys connected it, and I sold to all kinds of guys like Goldster in Venice, which is a lot of celebrities trained there, some of the wrestlers from WWE. I can't mention any names, but it was crazy, and I was making this money, and I got busted twice, and it's like, come on, Mariano, you got to do something else with your life. And I wasn't into drugs and all, but steroids is, technically it's you go to jail for it, and I did go to jail for it for a couple of days. But that was my thing, and then I had an addiction to painkillers for a little bit, Oxy, for about a year. Then I went to treatment at Pastor Phil's, Set Free. So I had some demons I had to fight with too. Painkillers, steroids, and then I would say, look, you guys, you might get these muscles, but it's going to come with a lot of side effects.
Yeah, man, it's really inspirational to see somebody go through the fire, come out the other side, and be doing even better. And just turning 50 myself, I'm happy to see us half-century guys doing all right.
You have to, man. I remember Ben Diesel told me, I worked with him on Fast and Furious 2, and we became good friends. And he just said, as long as you're working in the business, you're working in the craft, you're learning. And I learn below the lines, above the lines. I want to see how a camera works, how the lighting works, how the sound works, how directing works, because we all want to make our own movies one of these days,
All right. Speaking of Vin Diesel, have you ever seen his old breakdancing video from when he was a kid? I think it might be on YouTube, but there's a Vin Diesel. He did a breakdancing instructional video. It's hilarious. And he has a sense of humor about it. He's not hiding it. But being your buddies with him, if you guys are hanging out, you really need to break up his breakdancing video and see if he can still pop and lock for you.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
I didn't know that.
Speaking of your own film, didn't you recently do a short that I think you directed or wrote called Master Chancla?
Yeah. It's funny because I saw a movie called Kung Fu Hustle. It's if you ever watch Saturday martial arts with Kung Fu Theater, it used to come out every Saturday. And there was the flying kick and the guys that flew up in the air and they're doing karate in the air and killing each other. And kind of like Kung Fu. And I made the Mexican version, Master Chancla, and it's about, he's got these powers, and he's a kid, and he starts training with Kung Fu, but he wears chanclas and the sombrero and the poncho. He starts doing all these different moves, and, it's probably the best thing I've done. It's a little cheesy, but it's, it took 3 years to even do that. and it's a comedy. There's Master Chonga, there's Master Ho Ho, there's Lucy Wong, Master Ho Ho, Master Wong, all these funny characters, you know.
Where can we see this? Because I am intrigued. I got to admit.
You gotta watch it on Amazon Prime, and yeah, it's been on there for a while, and it's a short. It's only 15 minutes long, but it's a little bit, like I said, we're doing these funny martial arts, not real martial arts. You know, it's really funny.
Right.
And we got a guy's doing the sweeping the leg, but he's sweeping his leg with a broom.
Oh, man, it seems like all the cool stuff goes to Amazon Prime. They must be open to the more interesting stuff because
Yeah,
Sam.
I just got lucky. My manager, Timothy, one of my managers, he helped me get it on there. And you know, as long as it's good quality and they want closed caption, Amazon's the best chance of getting your stuff put somewhere. And all you got to do is send them the paperwork and the copy. Oh, man, my car's acting up right now.
Uh-oh.
You know,
it has to be closed caption, too.
Yes. Yeah, and it has to have sound, closed caption. It has to be I paid. It cost me almost $2,000 to make that short.
Hey, but Mariano, it's been an honor, man, to interview you, bro. I thank you for making some time out to just speak with us and talk with us, bro. I'm sorry that we had another interview right before you, so we ran a little over. And that's why we were a little late, bro. But it's been an honor, man, for you to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Mariano. It was super awesome meeting you, man.
Thank you, Ocho, brother. Thank you, bro. You know, I always say, you know, we're all aspiring, you know, trying to be successful in the movie business, and you know, my goal is just to, you know, to just do God's will and use this platform for good. And inspire the young kids, you know, because I always say, I still have a little of the kid in me, you know, and we all have some bad experiences, but we got to give glory to God, and we have to, you know, he's going to open the doors, man. He's going to give us favor in Hollywood as long as, you know, we're on track.
That's true. Hey, man.
Well, that was quite an interview with Mariano. If you would like to see the entire video with many more questions, many more answers, you just want more of the dog himself, well, that's easy. We have the full interview. Just subscribe and go to the Ocho Almighty Facebook page or the YouTube, and you can see the extended interview. Yay!
So anyway, I really loved hearing his story, man. It was cool that he was open up about the whole steroids thing, and he's definitely come a long way. I mean, some of these people there's a good chance a lot of people wouldn't have made it through the fire, survived. It takes very strong people to.
Well, that's what we were talking about in the beginning. Is people can change. You know what I mean? They can change and turn a new leaf. He's one of the people that have changed, and now he's doing positive things. So it's just a prime example of what we were talking about earlier, that people aren't destined to just continue on doing bad things or continue on being liars or cheats or drug users. There's redemption.
Right? Or if they don't want to come to that, they should just become politicians.
Exactly. Because, you know, I'm not going to even say it. But
our next guest. I mean, what can I say about Chris?
Talking about things that need to be changed and reformed. He's got some things to talk about prison reform and about the way he was railroaded by the government, so to say. You know what I mean? But he still came out in a good way and is doing some good things.
Right, and then you would be more of an expert than me, but what's your take on that whole game of lawyers and money and just like small town law enforcement?
If you got money, you're going to get out of prison.
Right.
Someone like me who didn't have money and had to go with someone appointed by the court.
Oh yeah, you're fucked
You
when that
got more
happens.
of a. It's sad because you know that's a fact. A lot of the people from the ghetto are the ones that do the time because they can't afford legal representation. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's a racial issue or a socioeconomical issue or a little bit of both?
It's a little bit about both. And now you got private-owned prisons where it's profit. You know what I mean? We keep someone in there for longer than they should. We're gonna get paid. Is a body that generates money. You know what I mean?
Prisons for profit. Or if I could pick out something that's evil in this world, it's profiteering from illness and incarceration.
Oh yeah, like
whoever's sitting on the piles of cash.
You don't even want me to get on about the medical field. You know what I mean? Right. If we discovered a cure for cancer, I got a gut feeling it would never come out because the medical industry makes so much money on cancer treatments and cancer this and that it would never come out. And it's pretty sad because it's pretty corrupt. It's all about money.
Oh, absolutely. That is one of the subjects where I do go a little more left on. Is I would love to see socialized medicine and just big pharma kind of get put in check a little bit. But I understand the argument. I mean, all the money is what makes the research happen, but there just has to be a better way. And
you're benefiting off of dying people.
Right.
And that's, you know what I mean? And that's bullshit. I'm a Christian, but that's bullshit. Right.
And at the same time, people benefiting from people being incarcerated, especially kids being incarcerated.
You get these kids who spend half their life of drug charges when in fact they should be in drug rehab. You know what I mean? A lot of the time, not being put in prison. And then I'll be honest, because I did this. I came out a better criminal. And that's usually what happens when they go in young into prison. They come out better criminals.
So, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, Ocho, how many times did you do time?
I spent most of my juvenile years in and out.
Right.
And then I spent a good half of my 20s in there.
Now, was it the last time you were in that you had the epiphany that, hey, I'm going to change my life and do something a little different? What was it that made you change?
I just was good at not getting caught for the longest time.
Right.
I did a few jail stints for DUIs, aggravated DUIs, like in my early 30s and stuff. But I was just good at not getting caught towards the end.
Right.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I should have done a lot more time for. But
I can imagine some of the stuff that you've seen. I mean, it's not an easy life. The fact you came through it alive.
It's not an easy life, but you know what? I know from my religion background, they're gonna be like typical Mexican. But from my religion background, I believe I'm saved. I believe I'm forgiven. And I feel that I go in and I help others. You know what I mean? Right. I help others by telling my story, my experiences, and I help others onto the right path. I don't know how many people I've had come to me and say, you know what, I'm not doing what I used to do after hearing you and your testimony. And that's all that I can expect, and that's all I hope to, you know what I mean?
Right.
I hope that I'm an example and that other people change their lives.
Well, I think so. I mean, you definitely draw a lot of people to you. I mean, you have such a great story, and you have quite a testimony to share. So, it's amazing how things worked out. I bet if 10, 15 years ago, if you would have never guessed where you would have ended up.
The way I feel about it, if I wouldn't have changed my life, if I wouldn't have become a family man now, if I wouldn't have decided to change my life, I'd either be back in prison or dead.
Now, did you straighten up before you had kids, or was it having kids that made you straighten up?
I had my son, and I'm not going to lie, in his early years, I was doing some bad stuff. It's when I met my wife, you know what I mean? And she put down kind of an ultimatum, like, you know what I mean? Change your life or I can't be around you, you know what I mean?
Right. I'd imagine it's a hard thing to break out of because, I mean, I'd imagine the money is really good. You're indulging.
I mean, I'm a struggling actor, and I never had to struggle when I dealt drugs.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of times that I'm human. I go back and I say, wow, dang, I used to make more money doing this. But I'll be honest, having a family, having people look up to me, being able to do what I do now is better than any money, you know what I mean, or anything I could buy.
Well, yeah, having actual freedom and a different kind of respect. I'm sure people respected you when you were in the gangbanging lifestyle, but that was more based on fear. Now you're being respected.
Now it's like it's weird because I'm loved. You know what I mean?
Right.
I go around the country and people love on me. You know,
right.
And to be loved is way better than to be feared.
Right, and it just goes to show, if the cards are play out right, anybody can make life work for them. I mean, the fact that you have your face tattooed, I mean, that would limit a lot of people. Same with me. I mean, but if you find your path and you go down it, then you're going to. Everybody has the potential for success. The ones that want to use excuses that they're not going to use the excuses to why they're not successful or why they're not living the way they want to. They just need to figure something out. I hate to say it, that's kind of harsh, and I realize there are different circumstances with different people, but in general, there is always, you have different choices, and sometimes you got to figure out that choice you're going to make that's going to make your life better.
That's why I'm really excited to hear from Chris Martin.
Oh my God, yes.
And I'm really looking forward to what he has to say. And I'm sure people are going to gain a lot from it. So a
lot of inspiration.
If you're ready, Ryan, let's get this going.
Let's go with Chris. Yeah, you're in for a treat.
Come on, Chris.
We are
on. This is Michael Ochotorena with Ryan Almighty.
Professional Weirdo.
Professional Weirdo. And me, which I don't look too far off either, I guess, right? I'm really excited tonight because we have I said my friend. He's one of the best guys I know out there. He kind of has a similar story to me, where we did some time and we were able to turn our lives around and make some things of ourselves. So he definitely has a story to tell. If you haven't seen his documentary, Haters Make Me Famous, definitely need to see that. That's on Amazon Prime, I believe. And I just can't wait to get into his story and asking him some questions. So this is my friend, Chris Martin.
Absolutely, man. Chris, I watched your documentary last night. I was blown away. It was awesome. And you never know what you're getting into. Ocho recommended it. It's like, yes, Ocho selling me some bullshit. We'll see what this is. And I was sucked right the fuck in, dude.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I went into it blindly, not having no clue what it was about and anything. And boy, sometimes when you go into something like that and you don't know, it's such a pleasant surprise that it's so fucking awesome.
And first of all, I can't believe Ryan even doubted me.
Well, first off, I want to say thanks for having me, and it's rare that I'm the most normal-looking one in the room. So thanks for having me. No, the documentary is kind of one of those things. It's the byproduct of a bunch of crazy time. I never thought it'd be in the movies or my story would even be in front of my state, much less the country. And now the globe. It started off just as a little small town story. We were just some guys making edibles, trying to get medicine to people, and the dispensaries wouldn't open. They were trying to get their shit together, and we just felt like it was our jobs, and that's what we did. And the state doesn't take kindly to someone taking out of their pocket.
No, they don't. No,
I'll tell you though, I got to find a Zonka bar now. I'm in New York. If I have to come out to Arizona and visit Ocho to get a Zonka bar, I'm coming. But I do have my lollies. I figured to go in the spirit of this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We're working on some really cool stuff. We're leaving here in a week to go to Michigan and launch, and then who knows what's next? I know there's some areas up near you where there is some potential that we've looked at. So I'd like to say we're going to be real close to you real soon.
Right. Yeah, New York is really off. I mean, I got my card here with the dispensary. Basically, it's overpriced vape cartridges, tincture, and pills. They don't even have flour, no edibles. I mean, I have my sources. We all know about those, don't we, Chris? I know from the documentary, but it's better when it's legal. Yeah. No, nothing.
So how many? Chris, can you tell us how many years you did in prison?
Yeah, total I did a little over 6 years. So it was in two different stints. The first time I went in, it was for a joint. I played college baseball here at Yavapai in Arizona, and just a junior college. I got recruited out of the Midwest to come play ball. I got busted with the joint, and because the judge was a pretty hard-nosed guy, and my pops was a patch holder 30-plus years, he felt it was necessary to teach my youngster ass a lesson, so he gave me 3 years in prison.
Now, when they got you for the joint, wasn't there 11 pounds hidden in the wall that they never found?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we never played the innocent role. Like I said, I know nothing, but there was 11 pounds stuffed in the drywall because I had no parents. I had no way of really supporting myself, and I ended up that middle guy. I knew the guy who was growing it, and I knew all the baseball and football, or baseball and soccer teams and everybody else who needed it. So I ended up that guy. And
so it didn't tell us in the documentary. Did anybody ever find the 11 pounds of marijuana in the wall?
I know nothing.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
What I told our last guest.
Yeah.
I got horns. I'm going to ask those questions you don't want to answer. It just happens that way.
No, I had my sources. We got it extracted out of there. No pounds were hurt in the arrest of the kid.
No pounds harmed in the shooting of this documentary.
No pounds left behind.
Ocho area. We lost you for a second. Right, and not to mention the fact, somebody very close to me has Crohn's, and one of the few things that helps her are edibles. And the medication they put her on is just hellacious. I just talked to her tonight. A shot they're giving her, she's completely nauseous and in pain. She just went to where her parents are because she's having a rough spell with it right now. I'm sure you understand having Crohn's yourself.
Oh, yeah, RSO, Rick Simpson oil.
Yep. Edibles are one of the few things that really genuinely help that without all the side effects of the medications that they like to give out for that. So, the fact that you're doing something that's actually helping somebody and they put you in prison for years for it, that's a broken system. I'm just glad everything worked out for you, man.
Well, and to think of how much time. It's not the fact of jail time. And consider this. This took place in 2012. I'm still on paper. I don't even get off paper until February. So that's a 10-year sentence for something the state said I could do. And if I catch any more crime or felonies or anything going on right now, I go back for life. All those felonies get reinstated, and I don't come home. All for something that this state's supposed to be medically legal to do. Yeah.
Now, do you feel that they still kind of have a hard-on for you, or is being that this became so high-profile and they kind of were made to look stupid, or have they eased up and they're backed off? Do you feel vulnerable?
Oh, absolutely vulnerable. Whenever you have it illegal federally, you're never in the clear. The feds can kick in your door at any time and tell you your sob state stories don't mean shit here, and that's the real deal. It's great that us state guys are getting out and we're being able to fight back, but the real fight is at the federal level and realizing that this thing's listed as a drug with no medical value, yet we're deeming it essential while keeping people locked up for life. Do we look like bigger idiots right now, or is it just me?
No, you're right. And it actually helped you because now you're working on like prison reform, right?
Yeah, actually, the greatest part about this, Michael, just like you've seen, man, is this networking. Me and you wouldn't have known each other. How we probably would have hung out 10 years ago. But you know what I mean? It networks us together now to where we're so much stronger with whatever movement it is, whether it be ministry, whether it be fellowship, whether it be prison reform, changing the laws and rules for everyone that it benefits. We all got our stories, we all got our walks, but I think we're only strong in numbers. I tried doing this shit by myself, and it almost got me life, man. And I don't want to do it by myself. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to do it together. And the biggest way is getting out and voting, changing people's voices. I got my voting rights back for the first time ever in 45 years, and honestly, besides the fact that I'm a little embarrassed that when I get, I don't have the greatest options all the time, but I get to be a part of the system and part of the process, and I think that's a big help that everyone needs to take advantage of. We can really make some changes.
Yeah, it was great when I got my voting rights back, but I gotta say, I deserved to go to prison for the stuff I did. What I did, I deserved it. I deserved to be there. But I can honestly say, you though, you are few of the exceptions that you didn't belong there, man. And I'm happy.
I gotta tell you, I'm just lucky, man, that I was in a small town and I was a white guy. I mean that with all sincerity.
Yeah, because it would have been me, I would have been done.
Oh, brother, and I mean that with all sincerity. Anything else, if I wasn't just and I had no family, I had no money, so I was bottom barrel white trash. I had tattoos covered in. I'm weirdo too, you know what I mean? Club leader, gang member. So I'm bottom barrel white guy, but I was still white guy, and I gotta say that was that. I like to say that it was my great ass detective and all this dirt we dug up, but man, it is what it is. I'm a fucking white dude, and had I had a black guy, I don't think that it would have gone. If I'd have been a black guy, Mexican guy, Chinese, purple, Barney, fuck, I could have been anybody else. I don't know if Yavapai would have been that forgiving. It's just that old country boy town, man. It's thank goodness is I guess what I can say is it worked out for a purpose, but that doesn't mean my work's done. That doesn't mean our work's done. We got lifers sitting in there for $900 in weed, and it's got to stop. It's got to end. But they should come home today.
Yeah, it's mind blowing being that's all but legal now that there are still people doing life, over, like you were saying, not very much weed at all. Yeah, one of the parts of the documentary that I absolutely loved is the fact that your wife stuck by you the way she did while you're in there, writing you letters every day and stuff. Again, man, I don't want to give too many spoilers for this documentary, but any of you that haven't watched it, you need to watch.
You gotta watch it.
Famous. Yeah.
You know, Haters is based on, I got to give it up too, because Ocho, it really ties you and kind of your background into it. I got put into a 2-man cell because I was STG, a gang member. When you're waiting to go to Alhambra in prison, you get shoved in a category, and I got stuck in the gang unit. Well, normally they segregate you. I'm not sure why they didn't segregate us. Probably trying to stir it up like usual.
Yeah, I got segregated.
Yeah, most always I'm in by myself, or I'm in with another white boy or something. That's
really weird. They didn't, because that's usually when they want fights to start.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I took it. But the cool part was I'm almost 50. I'm a biker president, not a Boy Scout leader. And this dude was a youngster. He was like 22, 23, but he was in one of the Mexican gangs. And I won't mention it, put him on blast or them on blast, but it was just odd that they put us together. And at first, it was definitely standoffish for both of us. I've already done time. He's never been down, but he ain't backing down to nobody. And we just started chatting a little bit briefly, feeling each other out. And I could tell he's a good kid, but he was an addict. He had an addiction issue, and that was the tear in his soul. Was the addiction came with the gang, and he didn't want either one in his life, but he was so young and he didn't know how to get away from it. In his heart, he felt that he couldn't. So as he's sharing his story with me, he starts asking me my story. I tell him what's going on, and he's like, "Why don't you write that down, man? Why don't you put that on paper?" So he honestly inspired me to do it, because I couldn't get paper and pencil in the dorm because all the cops were Hispanic. And we didn't have any love coming. So my dude, I had to talk to him like, "Hey, I'll give you honey buns all day if you can get me pen and pencil to write my family." And sure enough, youngster got up, hooked me up, and helped me. Well, the SA cop gave me the hardest time just getting pencils sharpened, just getting anything I could. So I really had to work with my cellie to get things done. So by the end of my journey in this little trip, I was there about 45 days with this youngster. We really done some work where the kid didn't want to get high anymore. He didn't want to be in the gang anymore. He really wanted to go home to his mom. His brother had passed already. His dad had died. He had a lot of loss in his life. The gang filled that for him. I just gave him my life experience. I read the story to him. He helped me give this book, I guess. It was my book that I based the documentary off of. It turned out to be a book. It was really just a memoir to my kids. I wanted my kids to know, look, if I go to prison for life, this is why. I'm not a piece of shit. I love you guys. I was just trying to do what was right. And I never thought it'd be a book. What kind of gave me the telltale sign it was going to become a book was the same officer that was giving me the hardest time had to roll me up. He's the one who had to go through all my stuff the night before and send out all my personal property. So when he comes to the window, he's like, "Martin, you're going to DOC tomorrow. Get your property together." I had to get that whole book stuffed in a bunch of envelopes and thrown through the bean chute to get to this guy. And when I handed it to him, he had always busted my nuts so hard, every day. Like, what are you doing? Writing your life story, and just giving me the hardest time. When I handed it to him, he looked at me through the window, like, almost like, damn, you did. You wrote your life story, didn't you? And at first I thought, he's probably pissed off he's got to read that motherfucker before it goes.
Right? Ultimate payback.
I bet he felt like he knew you better after he had to read the whole thing.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, man, they roll you up about 4 o'clock in the morning. So he had about 12 hours to go through it and read it. And the next day when they rack you up, they belly chain you, your face in the wall, and we're all lined up on the pier. He comes up to me, and as he's hooking me up, he lifts my leg. He says, right leg, clicks me up, and I hear, damn good book, son. And I was kind of drawn back for a second, like, did he just hold up? And when he hooked my other leg, I went to say something, and he was already on to the next dude, like, almost it was a weird confirmation for me, like, this thing's bigger than me. This isn't about me. This isn't about my story. This is about all the people that it's going to help and affect after the fact. So it was just kind of a little bit of foreshadowing, and that was even before prison and all the work we did in prison. So it was just it was letting me know that even though I'm going to a really crappy place, I'm there for a reason.
And that's what I always say too. Is when they say, "Would you erase your past?" I'm like, hell no, because you know what? It made me who I am today. And without that past, certain doors wouldn't be open. And you got that same story, man. You know what I mean? Without your past and without you, what you've been through, you wouldn't be able to give that story. And obviously, your story affected the homie that was in there with you. You know what I mean? To change. That's why I said, man, I got to work with you more, and we got to start. We got to start doing some motivational speaking together. You know what I mean?
I'd love to, man. That's kind of my passion. And
don't you think, Ryan, he'd be a good person? He has the look for movies, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah.
And I know you guys are both in Arizona. How close are you to one another?
Couple hours.
Yeah, you're in Tucson, right?
Yeah, Tucson, and you're Phoenix, right? Mesa?
Yep, Glendale.
Glendale.
Yep.
Yeah, about 2 hours away. The way my wife drives, about an hour and a half.
Isn't that where Alice Cooper lives too?
Yeah, he has a radio station down there.
I went out. I don't think it's there anymore, but I went to his. I did a tattoo convention there and went to Cooperstown, and where Rock and Jock meets, and had some barbecue, and all the waitresses had the Alice Cooper makeup on. It was awesome.
Yeah. My daughter used to teach dance with his wife over at their dance class, The Rock.
Right.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really big community leaders here. They do a lot for the community in Phoenix.
He has his own radio station down here and everything.
Yeah, they're awesome people. Really cool.
He's a character.
Yeah. Like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover.
He is. Nah, he's awesome.
If they judge us three, we'd all be in the slam.
Have you ever ministered to the prisons that you were actually in?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not yet. I wanted to. There's still a little bit of in the back of my head, like, what are they going to say? You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? But I've been all over.
No, not everybody's welcoming. Not everybody's receiving on that end either.
Yeah, but
prison's real.
I mean, I go in there and I'm marked already of what I used to do. So I've gotten a lot. Surprisingly, I've gotten a lot of respect and a lot of like pats on the back saying, "Hey, just keep up doing what you're doing, man." You know, giving hope.
Good.
So I'm happy about that. If anything, you know what? Maybe I may not be able to do prison reform because our government is the way it is. But my way is changing prisoners' minds. You know what I mean? And letting them know that there's hope outside. And to me, we know that I'm a Christian. I promote God. You know what I mean? And that God can change lives. So that's my whole thing, is changing a prisoner's mind. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I'm happy to have met you, Chris. You're one awesome dude, man. We're gonna have to ride bikes together one time or something.
I'm down, man. I got my street glide and my shovel head sitting down there.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm proud that you're my friend, man, and I'm proud of the person you become, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm proud of you too, man. I mean, you went through quite a walk there, and like I said on my podcast when I had you on, Who would have thought that guys like me and you would have been sitting at the table together at any point? You know what I mean? That makes me proud. That makes me proud.
Yeah, because we would have been on opposite gangs, bro.
Absolutely, and you know what? It's to realize that and be where we're at now is not only proud, but it's humbling. It's humbling to show the growth and the maturity, and it shows hope for humanity. Honestly, I
think that's what people need to see is people like me and you that were enemies back in the day can come together and be friends and be cool with each other. You know what I mean? And promote each other. Because I think right now the way the world's broken, you know what I mean, involved in all these race wars and all this, it's good to see that people like me and you know what I mean, can put our differences aside, our old ways aside, and be friends. You know what I mean?
Especially where we come from. You know, I mean, not just what we are, but where we come from. Because you live in a bureaucracy one way for so long, it's almost habitual. And in order to break that habit, you have to have it in your heart. You have to come from a good place of love, and I believe that with everything. So it's an awesome spot to be here with tonight.
Yep. Good thing we have good wives that support us, man. And help us get those matching socks.
I have 2 good wives here.
Hey,
I might go build a Fifi later. No.
Chapter 7.
Hey, but I have some latex gloves. It's all right. I can make it happen.
Yeah, that's my co-host.
That's my the film at 11.
What's on the horizon? Yeah, what's on the horizon, Chris? I mean, I know you're ambitious, so you always got to have new stuff going.
Yeah, we're just going crazy right now. So after 9 years, we relaunched the edible line in January. Many people didn't think that would happen. Many people probably might not have hoped it would happen, considering some of the haters we had up in Prescott. But we got it. We relaunched, and it just was another big middle finger back at the state and the government, showing them that you were wrong again. Your choices were wrong. You might have took some money and opportunity from us, but what is that? None of that goes with you when you leave here anyway. So, and they come along again. So to be back in business is one way to flip them off. But now we're about to go national. We're about to cross state lines and do a licensing agreement. I leave the 24th to fly to Michigan. We've got 4 or 5 days we're spending out there. And then a couple more things after that where I think Zonka just might be kind of all over the place and be a name that people recognize for once. And not just for the backstory, not just for the raid, not just for the poor me shit, because we do really good chocolate and really good edibles and RSO and concentrates and our products help people. So, you know, that's the full circle part that I think we're all about. So Hempful Farms is blowing up. We also own Hempful Farms, which is a hemp company. So when I got raided, it's a country song. I lost everything, and you're stuck at $500,000 bond and looking at 100 years, and you figure it's over.
Just goes to show it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, good. You're good. My farmer called and just said, "Hey, look, you want to stay in business or not? I do CBD from hemp. You can switch all your labels over from what you do with Zonka to hemp right now. Stay legitimate, pay your bills, have a fighting chance in court." And literally, I started making 3 of our top products with hemp, put them online, and I called my wife within the next 3 or 4 days and told her I was quitting my job. And she was like, "You're what? You're looking at life. I'm driving to Prescott every day to be a nurse, and you're going to quit your job." I thought she was going to divorce me. I just told her, I said, we're getting so many orders online from the hemp company because I think, one, because people are curious of what hemp is. This is back in 2012. In our area, it was kind of new, and then also because people wanted to support us. They wanted to help us and kind of see, get us through the court situation. So I kind of bullshitted my way in. I had an investor contact my company and say, we love your branding. We love your product line. We want to see your facility. And my facility was my living room where my wife and I was making the lotion and honestly just trying to have an online business and pay rent. So when I knew this big group was going to come out, I got on Craigslist and I rented a kitchen. Meanwhile, I'm fighting this life case. So it's like when you're pushed to defend your family or stick up or try to, take care of them, I think you'll do whatever it takes. So I rented a kitchen. I told them, you know, we've got this great kitchen space, and this is where we do all our production, and we do a cafe. And we weren't doing any of this. It was complete smoke and mirrors.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I wanted an investor. I just needed capital. Give me a little bit of money, and let me show you what we do. And they bought it. They walked in and said, "That's the best idea I've ever seen. Here's $100,000 for 20% of your company." And I'm on trial with this deal going down. So I built the company, the cafe, and I set it all up to where my wife could have everything separately structured. So my pet line is separate, my hemp line is separate, my smokable line is separate, my cannabis line is separate. So if she ever had anyone come along and offer her a deal, she could keep them all separate, not get screwed over, and actually make some money. Because there's no insurance program for us people doing life in prison. They're not going to take care of my kids because I fucked up. So either I'm going to get hit by a car and my insurance is going to do something, or I'm going to hit the lottery. So what are my odds right now? And we hit a home run. I don't know how we did it, but I think it's because you don't sleep when you're facing life. You don't, you know, I saw what my cancer patients see when they look at me and say, "Chris, I'm terminal. What do? I have stage 4 liver cancer. I'm going to die. What do I do?" And I will never compare my life potential sentence to a terminal patient, but I can tell you that I felt what they felt on a level of hopelessness. Holy shit, this is real. I might not ever come back. And I think I found another gear. I found a 6th or 7th gear. And I just knew that I wasn't going to let my family down.
Well, it's got to feel good being successful, knowing you're helping people too. I mean, you are spreading joy. You really are, and you're genuinely taking pain away from people.
You know, it's crazy, man. It's like the doco. I didn't believe in higher power or a religious, you know, any spiritualness bigger than me. I didn't believe it. I was a kid. I was a kid getting beat up in group homes or by my parents or whatever. You know, I was just a kid going through it. And because of one of the foster homes that I landed in, the dad was a reverend of a church, a Methodist church that we were forced to go to in the 7th grade. And he was a child molester. He was one of those dudes that would try to hug you and his hand would try to slip down the back of your pants. And me coming from the street since I was 9, I'll stab him with a fucking bitch. Like, you come near me, motherfucker, I'm going to glue your eyelid to your skull. So my older brother in the foster home was a high school wrestler. He was a big musclehead kid. I'm a 7th grade little scrawny kid that I don't even know my ass from a hole in the ground yet. I told him, I said, "Look, man, I think this dude's like trying to touch me." And he said the same thing. Like, "Yep, I knew it was true. I thought he was trying to touch me too." He said, "If he touches you, you just scream my name and I got your back." And just so happened that next morning, like 5 in the morning, the old creepy dude comes up the stairs and tries to reach over and grab me. And I screamed. Jason come out of the bed and tied this old man up, like, you know, from behind. And I just started swinging on him as hard as I could. Well, Jason throws him down the stairs. Like, we're just trying to get off, like, get away from us, you know. Well, the cops came and arrested me and him. They charged us with jumping this old guy. They wanted it to look like we rat packed him and we set him up to get beat up. And they found porno on the guy. They found all kinds of just toys and shit that a reverend that's 70 shouldn't have. You
did they ever concede that he was predatory, or did they just pin it on you? And
no, they took his license and said he couldn't practice in Kansas, but he went and he could be a foster parent anywhere else.
Right. Any idea what happened to the guy?
I heard he died a miserable death from a heart attack. So, you know, who knows? Karma's a bitch.
Exactly.
That's a broken system. When they say you can't probably do it here, but you can do it over there, and he probably hurt other people.
Well, that's the terrifying thing about the foster system is there's people that are genuinely in it because they want to help people. There are people that are in it because they want to profit, and then there's predatory people that want to actually harm children, and that's
that guy was creepy. That guy, honestly, he's the one that took that higher power spiritual attempt or even a chance of me having a relationship like that out of the way. There was no question in my mind at that moment that, well, I was just mad. Like, hey, God, where are you? Homie, like, help me out of here a little bit here. This old dude's trying to grab my butt. What are we doing? And I was just an angry kid anyway. I lived on the streets. I slept on park benches because I ran away from group homes and stole from grocery stores to eat. I was just angry. I was mad. My parents beat the crap out of me. I was an unhappy kid. So to get into that situation in county jail where I'm raided, everything's terrible, and to have a guy like Jim from the DACO come in and really try to push, the Christianity on me at that time was such shitty timing for me, but it was perfect. You know,
is that the guy that you described as Danny DeVito, like that
Danny?
You described him as, yeah.
He would be he was my CASA worker.
Right.
So as a kid, I got assigned a guy to come in and just speak for me in court. And Dave was my guardian angel. Dave was the guy that, if it wasn't for Dave, I wouldn't be here.
Right. And it's nice to hear about the good people that are involved in that. Because, again, you hear an awful lot of stories like you're just telling about the bad touch guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is really nice to see that not everybody's like that, and there are some good,
And what's even cooler with Dave is when we went back to Kansas to film the documentary, we found him after 26 years. So I had no idea what he was up to. I hadn't spoke to him. For all I know, he could not even be around anymore. It took us a while to find him. He's pretty private, very, off to himself, and didn't have social media or any ways to just connect. So when they did find him, he was skeptical, like, are you guys representing Chris, or are you like using his name? And he was immediately defending me. Well, once we finally got to chat with each other, I had found out that he had gone off to be a chocolatier. He had went off to work with Russell Stovers to do chocolates, and which really fell in line with my cannabis brand and what I do out here. So we started talking about it, and he's like, Chris, I'd love to come out there and work and learn something. So I hired Dave to come out here last year and to become my chef for Zonka, and he wrote my SOPs and built my brand to where now I can sign licensing agreements across this country and be a reputable brand. And I owe it all to the man who saved my life when I was 15.
Who would have ever thought that he would have been helping you make, THC chocolates and CBD chocolates back all those years ago when he was helping you out as a troubled kid? I mean, truth is stranger than fiction. You have a very, we've done 3 interviews tonight, and everybody has a really interesting story, but there's almost like sometimes things just get in alignment, and it's a very strange world out there, and it's very interesting trying to make sense of it all.
Well, and understand, Dave's a very simple man. He's a Roman Catholic, very devout, or maybe not Roman, but he's Catholic. He's very devout, 3 times a week. When he's on his own time, he's donating money or food or working for homeless, or he's always doing something for other people. He's always been that way. And for me to be able to pay it back and pay it forward to him, and not only pay him, but have him come out and spend time with my family. He's since gone home now. He came out, he built us up, he set us up to where we needed to be, and he's got to go home with his family now. It was just the exclamation point on this whole story. Like, I can't write this shit, bro. It's like, I'm smart enough to make this up.
Is there a Zonka bar named after Dave? Did he make recipes?
That he came up with, honestly, he took my recipes and turned them into perfection. So they are all in his honor, but I would love to come up with like a private label just for him during a holiday or something like that, which who knows what's next with what we've got going on. He trained my wife. Now she's the chef, so she will tell me what we'll do.
the Ben and Jerry's of edibles.
Yeah, right. Well,
how many flavors do you have of Zonka bars? Because I saw in the documentary there was a bunch.
Yeah, right now we've got 6 flavors. We came back with the original giant bar, the 450 milligram, 4 ounce bar. And that was for nostalgic purposes because that's what we launched with 10 years ago. And we had all the flavors in that size. But we realized that Rec's coming online in a lot of states, and they limit you on milligram and all this other stuff. So, and we've kind of done, it's lame as hell. So we're just trying to get ahead of the curve while keeping our loyal customers happy with the nostalgic bars. But we've relaunched with a little bit smaller bar, a little lower milligram, which nobody really, who wants to do that. But for legal purposes, we want to make sure we're following the guidelines in the shops too.
Well, of course.
We're just hoping that at some point we don't have to jump through any of these hoops, and we can actually just open it freely and teach and share and do this stuff in an open market. Really,
Right.
I got into the dispensary side really as I told you so to the states, to show them like you can't just bully us and lock us out of a program that we helped build. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, I would love to come to Arizona and test all your products. Let me just
get out here. Hey, you've got a place to stay. You're always welcome.
Oh, you're awesome, man. I definitely, it's a life's goal now. I need to try a Zonka bar.
You know what? I will make sure that happens.
Awesome. Awesome.
You're awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. You made it today, bro. You made it today, and I'm proud to have you as my friend, brother.
You are awesome, man. It was such a pleasure to meet you, Chris, man. You really made me smile tonight.
Thanks, Ryan, man. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the doco. It means a lot. And anyone else that wants to go watch it, find us on Amazon Prime or hatersmakemefamous.com. And please, leave us reviews. I know it's kind of tedious to take a couple minutes and, have to deal with those little things. But if you understand film, like Ocho can back me up on this, those reviews go a long way when it comes to trying to get these on platforms. And if people don't have an Amazon account, then they can't get it for free, and they've got to go pay for it. So help us with.
That's what with John Light, especially. I promote it all the time, and I say leave reviews, please. You don't realize how one review can help you. You know what I mean?
A lot of work goes into these. A lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money goes into all this.
Hey, did you see that? I was in Texas. I was doing motivational speaking in Texas. I was promoting your Haters Make Me Famous shirt.
Woo! That's right.
I kind of like the name of that shirt because I got plenty of haters myself, and it is true. The haters will make it famous.
I get jammed about that saying a lot, and sometimes it's not always positive. I get asked, "Don't you think it's pretty arrogant? Don't you? What are you, a narcissist?" And honestly, Haters Make Me Famous is more about nobody knew who we were. Me and my wife were small mom and pop little shop in Prescott, Arizona. Like nobody cared or knew who we were. And then when they blew us up on the news, making us look like some drug dealing, murder, whatever gang members, I'm like, hold up. I wanted people to understand that this all happened because these dudes were just trying to make an example out of us. So that's really where it came from. It wasn't, a lot of people think it's kind of arrogant. I definitely didn't come with that.
No, I like it myself.
But it is middle finger.
What is the other hashtag? There's like fuck up didness or something. There's another hashtag.
Unfuckable is my most favorite hashtag. Unfuckable comes from one of the books that I read in prison called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. If you are short of inspiration and you need a kick in the ass to light a fire, that book will help do that. I was probably, prison's a low spot. And I read that book. It inspired me so much that I wrote a 22-page curriculum for the Arizona Department of Corrections to teach them how to teach their class called Thinking for a Change. They have a class that you have to take to get out of prison, and it's the dumbest shit you've ever seen. It's like a mandatory signature class that they get paid if you sign in. It has nothing to do with rehabilitate or it's a dumb class. So I took this guy's book. I wrote a curriculum. I emailed the author and said, hey, look, could you help me teach this class? I don't want to plagiarize your work, but you inspired me to help teach other men how to not be a part of this machine. And he wrote me back and offered to supply all the softcover books into the Department of Corrections into Arizona. So my CO3 submitted it with me to my assistant deputy warden. And as soon as it was submitted, I got transferred to another yard. They destroyed my entire program and sent me to a minimum yard that I wasn't even supposed to be classified on. And it was a drug yard. It was everybody's high on heroin. And it was worse. It was just like shut up, do your time, don't try to fix shit.
Right.
Yeah, of course. That word unfuckable comes from that book. So the guy has his own vocabulary, and unfuckable is his word for that place of zen where nothing can hurt you. There, no more negativity in your life can bring you down because you're on such a path that you're going to make it. So my wife printed it as a shirt that I wore when I was released from prison.
That's cool, man. Hey, tell your wife I said hi too.
I will. She loves you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. It's a great interview, man.
She's out there holding the grandbaby down. She's holding the grandbaby down for breaking the door down. That's why she's not in here.
I said hi.
I know. I was hoping she would make an appearance. After I feel like I know you guys after the documentary.
I had to lock the door. My 2-year-old grandson was kicking it in. Papa, Papa.
Just wants to be a part of the action. Well thank you, man. Like I said, this was awesome.
Guys.
Well, if you would like to see the entire uncut interview with Chris Martin, you just need to go to the Ocho Almighty Facebook page or the YouTube channel where you've watched this, and it's there. So if you need a little more Chris Martin in your life and a little more Zonka, and I know I do, it's out there. Thank you. I'm for reals, Bob. For reals.
Okay, I'm gonna. Well, Ocho, I was amazed. Like I said, I almost want to go and watch Haters Make Me Famous again, just to pick out things after talking to Chris that I missed before when I watched it. He's
a good friend of mine. I'm proud to call him my friend. He's doing good stuff, and I'm proud of him that he's made it. From all that he's been through, and I gotta say, Ryan, I'm proud that you're my co-host.
I am stoked that you're my co-host, brother.
What you think, man?
Great interviews, man. I'm really looking forward to doing this, man. You're the best co-host ever, and I hope I'm the best co-host ever.
Well, you know what it is, man. I'm happy we met. Once again, I want to thank Blastone Mike.
If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have met.
Without him, we would have never met. You're awesome, bro. I'm happy you're not just my co-host, you're my friend. And that just shows you right now that someone with different beliefs, people with different beliefs can coexist and actually be friends, And,
right, and I think that's so important, too. I'm glad to call
you my brother, and I'm glad to embark in this new adventure with you, man.
Ditto, man. And the way I feel, man, being friends with people with different beliefs, it generates energy. If too many people attract themselves to people that think exactly the same way, you're not going to learn anything. Yeah, it's very boring. It doesn't
work in relationships, and it doesn't work with friendship either. You know what I mean? We're individual people, and that's what makes us interesting. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Remember, kids,
we'd all be like, what is it, the Stepford Wives?
Oh, exactly. Remember, kids, diversity is actually a good thing.
Exactly. I'm happy we're together. I'm happy we're doing Ocho Almighty. Let's make this show kick ass.
Absolutely.